Nostradamus is adamant about stating that we can always change our future by changing the way we think, by changing the way we behave, and especially by the way we act towards others.
I'm Darren McGavin, and we are about to explore some of the most fascinating and astounding ancient mysteries of the world.
Now here we have a marvelous opportunity to examine the prediction line by line. Louis XVI and his wife, Marie Antoinette, two partners, escaped from the castle in Paris through a secret door. Their flight to Varennes took them through the Forest of Rains, but they lost their way, just as the quatrain predicted. They had to take a roundabout route. The king, as a disguise, wore a plain gray monk's cloak, but it gets even more astonishing. Louis XVI was a Capet, the first elected king of France, just as the last line of the quatrain states. He was both the cause and the victim of the tempest. And certainly no one can doubt the connection between the words bloody slicing and the guillotine. Louis and his queen, Marie Antoinette, were both decapitated by this grisly device. I believe that with his medical knowledge, his knowledge of information that he got from the Middle East, and knowledge that he got from the future, he came up with modern hygienic techniques to fight the plague in his time.
Sean Morton is an avid UFO researcher. In recent years, he has concentrated his efforts on discovering just what is happening at this corner of the Nevada testing grounds, known as Area 51. Morton took us to a mountaintop overlooking the facility. We would be the first news crew to get a glimpse at Area 51.
It is my belief that we have 9 alien ships that we have either captured, shot down, or got in some sort of deal, and that we're training U.S. military personnel in the operation of these craft.
Morton believes that this image is what is known as an HPAC, or a human-piloted alien craft. Other believers are less sympathetic to this government cover-up of UFOs.
If they have anti-gravity over there, if we have antimatter propulsion and we are able to travel through time-space virtually instantaneously, it means we as the human race moving off this planet. It means the end of pollution. It means the end of hunger. It's a technology that I'm a bit outraged that they have, that they're not sharing with the rest of mankind, because this technology could save the world as we know it.
I want to bring out a man who made news recently when he predicted that Northridge would have a big earthquake 3 months before it happened. He's also an author and an expert on Nostradamus. His book is called The Millennium Factor. Please welcome Sean Morton. Hi, Sean. Welcome. Well, I guess, you can give us a quick education about Nostradamus. Who was he?
Well, for those of you that aren't familiar with ancient French prophets and astrologers, Nostradamus was a man who lived in the 15th century. That's been the greatest, I would say probably the greatest criticism of Nostradamus, is that many feel that many of his quatrains were carried out, in fact, in his lifetime. He then spoke about a Germanic leader who would then take over Europe, and this Germanic leader would be called Hister, H-I-S-T-E-R. And many said, well, he got the name wrong. Well, what he was actually referring to was the river Danube, which was then called the Hister River. And he was showing that not only would the man have a name that sounded like the river, obviously Hitler, but that Hitler would be born in Austria and then move into Germany exactly like the Danube River does. There is one major, the first of the great plagues in the book of Revelation talks about the mark of the beast, that supposedly when people begin to take numbers on the back of the hand or on the forehead, that within 8 to 18 months after they take that number on their hand, that there would be a massive plague that looked very much like radiation poisoning, like a bubbling of the skin, like leprosy, and that it would kill a great number of people, and that this was the first of the great plagues that was described by the book of Revelation. Everybody that takes that number on the back of their hand or on their forehead will break out in this massive disease, and that's the beginning of the 7 great plagues.
You predicting a next earthquake?
Yes.
When?
Well, you want to wait till after the commercial?
No. Well, okay, I guess. Is it soon?
No,
well, I guess it won't happen before the commercial, so don't worry about it, kids. Don't. And pay no attention to those lights hanging over your head.
One man adhering to this viewpoint is ufologist Sean David Morton. We interviewed Mr. Morton. Let's hear what he has to say.
Area 51 is probably one of the most top secret above ground research and development facilities that the Navy and Armed Forces maintain. If the U.S. military has this type of technology, specifically anti-gravitics, anti-gravity represents the next step in human evolution. It represents the end of pollution, the end of hunger, the end of a lot of economic strife and chaos, the end of wars over food and energy. Personally, I'm outraged at the fact that the U.S. military has this type of technology and is not releasing it to the general public, which could mean it's the good of the world. It means humanity moving off this planet, colonizing the moon, colonizing other planets, moving out into space, and relieving a large number of the problems that we have here on Earth today.
He gives guided tours to a secret installation where he says the military is working not only on alien spacecraft and on alien research, but in cahoots with aliens. But joining us right now is Mr. Sean Morton, who is a UFO investigator who says that we, this nation, conducts alien and human joint effort space projects in the Nevada desert in an area that's been known for a long time as this area called Area 51. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you very much for joining us on the show. Now, tell me what's going on in Area 51.
Well, Area 51 is 135 miles north of Las Vegas, and it sits in a box at the center of the Nellis testing range. It's guarded by private security, and since 1986, there have been these incredible spacecraft, what can only be termed...
Can you see this monitor back here? Take a look up there.
Oh, yes. That's... I took this video at great risk to my own life. I actually snuck into a section of the base where this is the first videotape that was ever taken of Area 51. This is the most top secret U.S. military installation that the government maintains. Now, what you're about to see here is an object actually coming in from space that's coming across the front. Those hangar lights that you see in the center, that's the largest aircraft hangar in the world. It's jokingly called by the people that work at the base, it's called Hangar 18. Now, this is one of the objects that I've videotaped while I was out there. This same object was also seen over Belgium on another Unsolved Mysteries program, which you may have seen. And this object I videotaped as I was standing at what's known as the black mailbox on the road at Area 51. My contention is that this crashed alien technology that Jim was talking about, that the Roswell incident was talking about, has all been taken to these military installations, is being taken apart and being used to either fabricate what we call HPACs, human-piloted alien craft, or fabrications of these objects.
I've done 500 shows on the Montel Williams Show. I have never, ever, ever done this before, but I'm going to do this today. Sean, I live in Nevada. I live very close to where you're talking about. I live right in Las Vegas. I will take time on the week during Christmas when I'm on break.
Yes.
You and I can pay a visit out there.
Absolutely.
And if this... Big Joe! Come here, Big Joe. It's Big Joe. Joe is the head of my security, and I know with Big Joe, we'll be ready. We'll get clearance from the mayor.
Can we all ride in the back of the
We're
Jeep?
going.
Before the first of the year, Montel, because they're planning on confiscating that mountain where I took the videotape.
Deal.
The bizarre, the unusual, the strange, the unexplained. My name is Sean David Morton, and I'm your live action on-the-spot reporter for Genuine News, coming to you every week with all the news that we can get away with. Genuine News, only on the Sci-Fi Channel.
First up, have humans been abducted by aliens for genetic research? At an undisclosed location in Dulce, New Mexico, our own Sean David Morton has uncovered a story that might make you think twice about the existence of alien life forms. Sean, do you think there's any evidence that our government might be involved?
Bill, we're here in northern New Mexico, outside of the sleepy Apache reservation of Dulce, New Mexico. There have been very many strange things going on in this area. Kidnappings of women and children, bizarre cattle mutilations, and UFO activity. Every single mysterious event seems to lead back to this mountain, the Dulce Archuleta Mesa. Let's roll this amazing footage that we have. Bill, we are dozens of miles from any type of human civilization, and yet as you can see, this road is very well used and well traveled and very well worn. The highway itself leads directly into the side of a mountain, going nowhere. It's peaceful out here in the woods, and yet I get the odd feeling that we're being watched by some kind of unseen eyes. This is Sean David Morton reporting live from the Dulce Archuleta Mesa in northern New Mexico. Back to you, Bill.
Sean, is there any sort of heavy metallic smell or pungent odor that could identify them as perhaps being some chemical waste byproduct from this underground base?
Well, Bill, there seems to be in certain areas a coppery metallic smell, almost as if it's a blood substance that's being mixed with a hydrogen peroxide and sulfur solution. We're trying to get out of this area as quickly as we can right after we get done with the piece, because there does seem to be a...
Well, we seem to have lost the signal from Sean. We'll try to get back to him later. I hope everything is okay.
My name is Sean David Morton. Most of these stories and more are considered above top secret by your government and too hot to handle for the establishment press. But as of tonight, they will be declassified. In future episodes, we'll be exposing the true origin of the AIDS plague, delving into the web of deception around the personal life of former FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover, and asking a number of pertinent questions about what really happened to the civilians on Korean airline flight 007, which was shot down over Russian territory. We'll also be looking into the little-known Montauk Project, government experiments into time travel and mind and population control, and interviewing a few of the survivors from the famed Philadelphia experiment. Who exactly is the government afraid of? When they don't expose this information, are they afraid of the Russians, the Chinese, the Third World? Certainly not. Who they're afraid of is you, the intelligent, thinking American citizen. Because if you can figure out what's going on, then the gig is truly up. My name is Sean David Morton, and this has been Declassified. And until we see you next time, remember that the mind is like a parachute. It only works when open.
Up next, the man who claims he can take guys from geeks to love gods and make women want them. But are his magical methods really a destructive matter of mind control?
His disciples hail him as an erotic magician who can turn the most average of men into irresistible Romeos.
I think Ross has created something that's equivalent to the Holy Grail.
Others say Ross Jeffries is a twisted Svengali, using mind control to turn women into love slaves. He's been called a modern-day Nostradamus, a millennial prophet, and he says he knows the fate that awaits the scandal-scarred Bill Clinton.
These sexual scandals are only the opening of what's about to occur to him.
Now he's the mystical musician millions consider a musical messiah. And while the whole world knows about Yanni's music, very few people know anything about the man. We found out more in this exclusive interview. He makes music that sounds a lot like a band of angels. And he has an army of fans who worship him very much like disciples.
It's a remarkable piece of footage. If it's a hoax, it's very well done. If it's not, then I would say it's probably revolutionary.
Ufologist and lecturer Sean David Morton has appeared on Sightings, Strange Universe, and Hard Copy. He offers his own perspective on Lazar's stunning claim and the super-secret Area 51.
Area 51 is approximately 135 miles north of Las Vegas. It sits in a box that's at the western middle corner of the Nellis test site. It was originally called the Groom Lake Facility, and Area 51 actually gets its name from a bombing classification. There's Area 49, 50, 51, 52, et cetera, et cetera. First off, what you're looking at in the time code is DNI's Department of Naval Intelligence. So Department of Naval Intelligence, this would probably be a file number 27. It could be a security level, however, because security levels are supposedly go up to Q36, or the highest ones that we know about. The first interesting thing about that is that I'm noticing what looks like a medical monitor, and look at how slowly and erratic the heartbeat is. It's a remarkable piece of footage. I mean, it's very, 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 very interesting. If it's a hoax, it's very well done. If it's
If it's not, then I would say it's probably revolutionary.